Howdy YouTube family, it's Volt CRNA coming to you again with another day's topic. Today, I've got my buddy David here. He's a fellow SRNA at my program. He's a second year, a year behind me. And we're here talking to you about when you're going to nursing school, should you get your associate's degree in nursing or should you just go straight for your bachelor's of science in nursing and get your BSN? A lot of people ask me that for CRNA school. They ask if it matters, or they ask, does it change your outcome or trajectory? So I wanted to get into that today. Now, the best thing about this is David here originally his ADN, and then he went and got his BSN, and then he, did ICU nursing and went on to CRNA school. And then I did a different path. I went straight to a university and did my BSN, got out with my BSN and worked in the ICU and then came to CRNA school. So you have two different people with two different perspectives here, both in the same CRNA program, both succeeding. So as you can see, either way, it works for you. But we can talk a little bit about the nuances or maybe our perspectives on why one is better than the other or whether neither is better than the other at all. So David, why don't you say a little bit about what your experience was?
My experience was, I actually had a bachelor's degree before I got my ADN.
Oh.
So what I did is I just took the required science courses. I took chemistry, anatomy, and microbiology in the same semester, like one semester.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tough semester.
Yeah, it was pretty hardcore. I mean, although I was at a JC, but it was still difficult.
JC is in junior college,
yes.
Not Jesus Christ.
Yeah, at a junior college.
Yeah,
yes.
Junior college.
And then I took physiology over the summer, and then I applied, and then I got into the ADN program. So
okay.
I kind of fast-tracked into it.
How old were you then at this point?
So this was my second career. I was a probation officer before I was an RN.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was in law enforcement for 4 or 5 years or so.
Wow. And
then I went into nursing.
Okay. So you were not a young student at this point doing this. So you were definitely looking at the ADN.
I think I started this
still in your 20s?
28.
28, okay.
Late 20s.
So that's definitely a point in your life where you're like, I'm not trying to waste any time. Yep. I'm trying to get this done as fast as possible. And I've already got another bachelor's degree and I've already done all these other things. Right. So that makes perfect. And actually I have another friend who got a bachelor's the same time I got my BSN. She was getting a bachelor's in history. And then through me, she saw, and her mother was a nurse, she saw that she started to like the nursing field a lot. And she decided to go get her nursing degree, and she also did the same thing. She went and got an ADN because she didn't want to go through the entire process because with the BSN, she would have had to do all the prereqs, which there's extra prereqs for the BSN versus the ADN. She would have then had to also done the entire actually my program was 2.5 year nursing BSN program. So I mean, it would have taken her a long, long time to finally get out and start practicing as a nurse. So she did the same thing. She went to a local community college, got her ADN, and got done, a little faster.
Yep. So the straightest path I could take to get my RN.
So you got that ADN done, and then did you go straight into the ICU?
I worked on the floor for a couple of years.
Yeah. I also find, and that's the little nuances of this that I wanted to point out, I find a lot of ADN students do go to med-surg floors after school. And in fact, the program that my previous girlfriend of mine and this friend that I mentioned a minute ago, the different programs they went to, they were ADNs, their program directors and their teachers actually focused very little on ICU topics. They did just a few rotations in the ICU, and they were actually told by their program, like, we expect you to go and do med-surg first out of school, and then from there you can go on and do ICU and other specialties, but we're training you to go and do med-surg. Whereas the difference in that is in my program, which was in the same area as these other programs, we did lots of rotations in specialties, and our program encouraged us to go into specialties and to research out other stuff like that, into not just do med-surg by itself. And I mean, if you wanted to do med-surg, there were some students who did, but I'd probably say 60 or 70% of the graduates from my class, we all went into specialties,
Right.
whether it be like OB, L&D, ICU, whatever. There weren't that many who went into medical surgical floor nursing. So that's one thing to consider. If you're looking to try and get into the ICU as fast as you can, the BSN might open up more doors for you for that possibility if you're looking to go straight into the ICU.
Yeah, my ICU in particular just didn't hire like new grads, you know.
Yeah.
You had to have a minimum like 1 year experience on the floor, typically 2.
Yeah.
And I did a majority of my rotations at a trauma one center at Fresno Community Hospital.
Nice.
But I mean, I could see where that's an issue if you're not doing a lot of ICU rotations.
Yeah. Where
it'd be more difficult to get into the unit.
Right, yeah, because you don't feel like you're very comfortable in it because you haven't rotated that much in it. We actually, our 5th semester in the program was what they call a preceptorship. And I think I mentioned this in another video, but if you had a decent GPA in my program, above like a 3.2 or something, they would let you choose the ICU or another subspecialty to do your preceptorship semester in. So you would spend your whole 5th semester just paired up with an RN. Did you guys do the same thing?
Actually, my whole last year in my program was great. I was like paired up with an RN like every single day.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get to pick what unit you wanted to rotate on?
We were assigned like during certain parts of the semester, like what unit we went to. Unit we went to.
Yeah.
I was typically like on a step down unit for a majority of my second year.
Okay. That's kind of similar. Ours was specifically designed so that you would pick a unit that you were going to work on when you got out. So it's like an internship or something, I guess. They call it preceptorship. So it's designed so that you spend the last semester just getting really good at the type of nursing that you hopefully will get hired into and do. And a lot of us chose the ICU because we wanted to work the ICU, and most of us got hired into the ICU right out of school, the same ICU that we precepted in. So that was one thing that we did. And I don't know if other ADN programs do that exact same thing or not, or maybe yours just didn't specifically, but that's one advantage that my program specifically had.
When I graduated, I think it was 2010, like the job market was kind of tight. So it was really difficult for us to get into a specialty like that.
Yeah.
So,
and you're talking about California too.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you from someone who went to California to do travel nursing, when I already had a few years of ICU experience, there were still some tight markets there, and there were people. I met nurses who were, struggling to get into hospitals and trying to get certain jobs and stuff. And part of that is because so many people moved to California because of such a great nursing conditions and the pay is so good for nurses there.
It was great out.
So yeah, California, that state in general, is tight with nursing jobs. So yeah, that's a unique thing to that state, I think.
What I did is, when I was working in ICU, I actually completed my BSN program. So
yeah,
my hospital paid for a good portion of the program while I was working.
Nice.
So
that's a really good avenue to go, and I've known some other people to do the same thing, where they pay for their ADN, which it's not that expensive. It's usually at a community college, so the tuition's not going to be that high. You get out of school, relatively quick. It's still a long road. It's still a difficult program, but it's a little faster than your BSN. And then you can do your online BSN program and not even have to go on campus most of the time. It's mostly the research papers and leadership courses and all that kind of stuff, which you have to take when you do when I did a BSN program, we did all that stuff, but they made us do it in the middle of which I guess is why our program was 2.5 years long just for the nursing program, because they did all of those courses throughout our actual nursing program. And so you had to, go to clinical all day, study all these foundational nursing knowledge and pharmacology and all this kind of stuff. And then you also had to write leadership papers and do other research papers at night and stuff. You had to juggle all of it at the same time. So that is one downside to doing the BSN, is it's all at once. You're going to be doing all that information at the same time, trying to keep your head above water. So it's nice to be able to do it that way, where you can break it down, get all the nursing stuff out of the way, just stick to the nursing stuff, then get out of school and be able to be working and part-time, do that stuff online at your own pace.
Full-time.
Or full-time,
yeah,
nice.
I was going full-time.
Yeah.
A little over a year, hammered it out.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And I would actually argue, at least in my area, a lot of the nurses indicated that the ADN students
Mhm.
were a little bit more technically sound,
Yeah.
while
Same thing.
the BSN students are a little bit more theoretically sound.
Right. That is something that I went to school in Alabama, and you were in California, so
Right.
that's just a very different spectrums of,
Oh, yeah.
of nursing areas there, and that exact same thing was said in Alabama and California.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's much truth to that, but I do know that a lot of people say that. So that's something to keep in mind if you're, wanting to get really good technically or something like that, or you wanted to get really good at theoretical stuff or more. It's basically you're going to have more research knowledge and leadership knowledge and paper writing knowledge and stuff. You're going to focus more on that in the BSN because it's a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. And they expect that those students are going to be going on to grad school and doing, extra things. Whereas with an ADN, it makes more sense to think that those students are trying to get to become an RN. Like that's their goal, is to become an RN, and they don't necessarily all want to continue on to go to grad school and everything else. All right, so I think we have touched on all the topics. I know everyone out there has different opinions and perspectives, and I'd love to hear what your ideas are down below. Did you get your ADN first? Did you then go do an online BSN while you were working in the hospital? Were you an ADN nurse and got hired right into the ICU, or did you feel like you didn't get as much education in the ICU when you were in ADN program? If you were a BSN student, did you feel like you went the wrong path or spent too much money and all the different, negative things that can go along with the BSN? I want to know from you guys in the comments below, so do that for me. And also hit that subscribe button and hit that like button real quick, and follow me over at Twitter and Instagram at BoltSRNA, and that's Bolt out. All right, guys, thank you for watching this video. Click that video there and click that video there, and also there's a subscribe button somewhere around here floating, so click that too, and we'll see you next time.